Good morning, or depending on when you're listening to this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross and I was taught how to voice for radio, so I've made some videos. This is from Newport Regionals, the very first regionals in the UK just 3 days after Breakthrough was made legal. So these are the first really big tournaments around where the Breakthrough, the new set, will be legal. So you can learn about the new cards, the new decks, and the new strategies by watching these videos. I should thank the lovely Deborah Richards, who not only put on this tournament, but she let me record and she made it really easy for me to do so at the same time. So thank you very much to her. We are in the format X and Y to Ancient Origins, and we are playing 6 rounds of 50-minute best of 3. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, for round 5 we are detouring over to see a couple of juniors, and I've both forgotten to get their names, and I'm not a huge fan of giving out juniors' names on these videos, so we're going to call them Billy and Jimmy. If you get the video game reference, pop it down in the comments, and we will become friends very quickly. Billy is going to be playing Manectric Raikou, and Jimmy is going to be playing Yveltal, and I know you guys can see the names I've put at the top there. I can't because I haven't put them there yet. Hopefully I'm not going to get them the wrong way round and sound like an idiot. We can but hope. So here, clearly, there is a huge advantage to the Manectric Raikou player. Somewhat ridiculously so. Now, this deck, for those of you that remember, and we see a trainer's mail coming for an Ultra Ball there, which presumably is going to go for maybe a Raikou or maybe a Magnezone for next turn. Think of it a lot like Caldeo Blastoise. You've got the Magnezone, which has the ability that allows you to attach as many lightning energy as you like per turn, and you've got the Raikou, who basically has the same attack as Caldeo, 50 damage plus 20 more for each lightning energy attached, and there must be a minimum of 3. So he's going to try and get the turn 2 Magnezone, and so that he can put as much energy as he likes on the Raikou and just run through his opponent's deck. The problem for Jimmy here is that Jimmy, we see a Remoraid coming down. Remember that the new auxiliary for Breakthrough has an ability which allows you to draw up till 5 cards in your hand every turn. Billy is quite an experienced junior, if that doesn't sound like a bit of an oxymoron. He is a very good player. And we see a Fisherman coming down, so he doesn't have much. Although we said that Billy is in a really good position here, he needs to actually get some stuff going. So Jimmy here, he's going to want to start getting some stuff going, but if everything he's got is lightning weak like those Yveltals are, this is not going to be a very long or interesting game for him. Now, he does get the DCE down onto the Yveltal, which is useful. However, if Billy gets a good setup next turn, this is going to be irrelevant because Billy's just going to KO that Yveltal. And if he gets a minimum 3 energy on there, that will do a base of 110, doubled with weakness to 220, and we'll get the KO on the Yveltal. But Billy's going to need to draw into something. His hand is 2 lightning energy, and he's not making much of a secret of it as he goes and drops one of them. If either of the juniors are listening, do feel free to, pop your names in the comments, let people know who you are. I'm not a fan of giving out the juniors' names. Call me overly cautious, I'm fine with that. So, what does Billy draw? Billy draws an energy, and then has to pass. Here's the thing though, as soon as he gets free energy on a Raikou, he can start just running through the deck. And to be honest, Jimmy takes the KO there. That's a bad thing. Hard Charm goes on Raikou, 4th energy, he's got the KO, and that could be pretty much the beginning of the end here. Jimmy should have not taken a KO there. He should have waited until he could get something going, maybe tried to KO the Magnemite with a regular Yveltal, so that he could get an Yveltal EX going to KO the Raikou. Maybe if he can KO the Magnemite with an Yveltal and Raikou with an Yveltal EX, maybe he can work something here if Billy continues to draw very badly. I should, however, point out, we are watching a couple of juniors play, so do bear in mind, guys, that these are people who haven't been playing very long, so let's not be particularly mean. I should also point out that Raikou's ability says that it takes 20 less damage if it's got electric energy on it. So although Raikou's got 120 HP with the hard charm and the ability, he has an effective HP of 160, making him weirdly similar to Keldeo. But remember that as soon as Tropical Beach got rotated, nobody played Blastoise until Archie's Ace in the Hole allowed us to put it on the bench as a basic Pokemon with a supporter as early as turn 1. Having to get Magnemite going as a proper stage 2 really brings this deck to unfortunate standards. So Billy gets to draw a card here. Jimmy hasn't got too much. He attaches another energy here, and he really should start building up a second Raikou here, just so he can, although it looks like he's got a Magnezone and he's got a Skylar he can use to get a rare candy. And he uses a Skylar to get the rare candy. Remember, he drew all those cards with a Shaman. So he's going to be able to get a rare candy here from the Skylar. And there we go. He's already got the Magnezone in hand, so we're going to see the Magnezone. And Billy is going to get a fairly straightforward win this particular game. So there goes the Magnezone. He gets the Professor's Letter. That's a trainer card that's going to allow him to search for any 2 basic energy. Of course, he's going to grab Electric. And he's kind of needlessly putting them on the Raikou, doing, I think that might have been 240 odd damage. Oh, there we go. 3, 4, 5, 6, which is 120. Add the 50 is 170. Times 2 for the weakness is 340. He could have 2 Raikous ready to go now. So he should be, trying to build up a second Raikou on the bench. But he knows he's got this. And, it's fun to pile a whole bunch of energy on a Pokemon and just start smashing. We see a Shauna come down from Jimmy there. And let's see if there's anything he can get here. Now, maybe, see if N was in the format, maybe he could, get a KO with the benched Yveltal, EX, while ending his opponent to 1 and hoping he draws dead. But he drops a Shaman there, he draws into a bunch of cards. You've got to feel sorry for Jimmy here, because what does he want here? What cards could he possibly draw that allow him to win the game? Like I say, were we in Expanded, then we could, think about an N here, and maybe, just maybe, there's something we can do. It does 10 damage total, Yveltal's attack. 30 plus 20 for the Muscle Band is 50, minus 20. Oh, and there we go. He Lysandre's up an EX and KOs it for the game. A very quick game indeed. Yeah, it would do 50, 30 plus the 20 for the Muscle Band, and then you take away the 20 for the ability, then you take away the 20 for the hard charm, and it goes down to a whopping 10 damage. Although he needs to be a tiny bit careful. The one way, potentially, that Jimmy does win this game is if Billy puts too much energy on one Raikou, Jimmy is able to KO it using an Yveltal EX. Remember, Yveltal does 20 damage plus 20 for each energy attached to both active Pokemon. So the more energy that Billy puts onto a Raikou, the more potentially damage. Oh, no, not potentially. The more damage that Jimmy can do with his Yveltal EX. And then maybe Billy's not able to draw into enough Magnezones or enough energy. I mean, maybe Billy never gets a Magnezone going here. And so he's left manually attaching, and Jimmy's able to get the KO with an Yveltal EX. I mean, it's a lot to ask for, quite frankly. I don't think it's on the cards. I don't think it's a realistic thing to consider. Unless Billy draws absolutely horrifically here. He seems to have the game in the bag, but we never know. You never know what could happen. Actually, that's a lie. I know exactly what's going to happen, because I've seen this game before. But I would like you lovely people to enjoy this game with a complete lack of spoilers. So I'm not telling you what's going to happen. You're going to have to work it out yourself. Well, I say work it out. Just watch it. Just watch it and you'll see. So Here we see a mulligan from Jimmy. That means he had no basic Pokemon in his opening hand. You can, of course, not start the game if you don't have a basic Pokemon in your hand. So he gets to shuffle and draw an extra card. See, he gets to shuffle and redraw, and Billy gets a chance to draw an extra card if he wishes. Now, we are watching a couple of juniors again, so don't get all bent out of shape about it. They're, 11 and younger. But the action, I have had arguments with, players and judges about this in the past. I can confirm that the correct way to go about it is you count how many mulligans there are, and then you can choose to take as many or as few as you like. So really, Billy should take both the mulligans at the time that Jimmy hits a basic Pokemon. Doesn't really matter, but it is just as a point of contention. So we do see a Zapdos there from Billy. Good card for him to play. Remember that both the Magnezone and the Raikou are weak to fighting Pokemon, whereas that Zapdos has a resistance to fighting Pokemon. So if Billy were to come against any fighting decks, he could use Zapdos there to turn his weakness into a resistance. And if anyone's wondering what the dark Pokemon Jimmy has active is, as he plays a Shauna to shuffle his hand in and draw 5 new cards, it is a promo Yveltal that was released in a set a little while ago with rather beautiful art and a nice hollow pattern behind it. The Zapdos can do Drill Peck for 20 damage for 1 energy, or Raging Thunder, 2 lightning and a colourless, 120, and it does 40 damage to one of your benched Pokemon. So actually, Billy could do 40 damage to that Yveltal straight away on turn 1, given that he's going second. You can attack straight away if you're going second. So Billy drops down a Magnemite, obviously doesn't think he's going to need it, and a Lysandra. Remember that every deck nowadays, unless you're playing Vileplume, plays 4 VS Seeker, so he can very easily use the VS Seeker to grab the Lysandra back into his hand whenever he wants. Well, whenever he's got a VS Seeker in his hand, I should say, to reuse them. So he gets a Raikou down. He's going to want a Magnemite here so that he can try and get the turn 2 Magnezone. As soon as he hits a Magnezone, he can put down as many lightning energy as he likes whenever he likes. So we see a Trainer's Mail there. He's got a rare Candy, which is good, but he chooses a Hard Charm instead. He wants to be a little careful here because, like I said, there is a possibility. Floatstone on the Zapdos is useful. Oh, there we go. That makes and that looks like at least 2 and maybe 3 Magnezones have already hit the discard pile, which is really quite worrying. What he could have done is he could have used the Ultra Ball to get a Magnemite, grabbed the rare candy with the Trainer's Mail and not played a Sycamore. Then next turn he could have used rare candy Magnezone, which would both have been in his hand. He could have used them to evolve into a Magnezone, guaranteed himself the turn 2 Magnezone, just not played a supporter for a turn. Now clearly he hasn't done that. And he could be out of Magnezone for the game. Does he need them? Maybe not. But remember that Yveltal EX only needs a few energy on to KO a Raikou with loads of energy, at which stage, if Billy has nothing, he can lose the game. So potentially could have been a little bit more patient there. Maybe he should have Ultra Balled for the Magnemite, got the rare candy off the Trainer's Mail, not played the Juniper, and guaranteed himself the turn 2 Magnezone. That would have been an option. Once again, want to reiterate, we are watching juniors, guys. They haven't been playing for long. They're 11 years old or younger. So I am going to point out some, plays that could have been made differently, as I tend to do. I like to think that people watching these videos can, I don't know, maybe get a little bit better by watching these videos, think about their play a little more. But just to, completely make it very, very clear, we are watching juniors, and I'm not in any way disparaging their play. There are some very good juniors around. So we see an Ultra Ball coming down here, and he's going to use that to get rid of a couple of cards that we can't see. It looks like we've got a Sycamore and a Bridget, and he's going to grab a Shaman. Still no Magnemite here. I believe he played a Skylar to get that Ultra Ball there. And he's only got 2 energy on the Raikou, and it is turn 2, so there will be no more energy going down this turn. And he draws an energy in a Skylar, so it doesn't look like Billy's going to be getting a Magnezone up anytime soon. Doesn't necessarily need to, but this does open the door for Jimmy here. He gets the Muscle Band on the Yveltal. And as long as he's got 1 Dark Energy, he can do 50 damage to the Zapdos and start picking away. And that's what he wants to do. Now, the terrifying position for Jimmy here is if Billy gets a 3rd energy on the Raikou, Lissandra's up the benched Yveltal EX with the energy on, and then KOs it, that would go, oh, and he does. So there's no energy there from Jimmy. Billy is able to get the VS Seeker for the Lissandra. He's got the free energy on the Magnezone. He KOs the Yveltal EX. He takes his first 2 prizes by virtue of knocking out an EX. And like I suggested, the fact that he doesn't have a Magnezone here doesn't look like it's going to slow him down at all. It looks like he's going to go straight ahead and win this game. Now, we do see an Ace Trainer coming down from Jimmy. That's a supporter where you can only play it if you're behind in prizes, if your opponent's taken more than you. The person ahead, you take 6 prizes after shuffling your 6 cards after shuffling your hand in. And your opponent takes 3. Now, here we do see a Skylar coming down. And to be honest, like we see, we've got the hard jump on the Raikou. So even with the Muscle Band, that Yveltal is still only doing 10 damage. If we don't see an Yveltal EX coming out soon, then it is going to be game over. Now, he has got a Dark in the discard. So if he... Yeah, so now... Oh. Okay, that's... Okay, it's not an ideal play. What he should have done there was attach an energy to the active Yveltal. Because remember, Yveltal's attack attaches a Dark from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. So if he had attached that to the active Yveltal, then he would have been able to put one from the discard pile on the Yveltal EX, and then he'd have 2 energies on the field rather than 1. But it's getting late in the game. He is, playing under a little bit of pressure here, and he knows, looking at the game state, it is basically over. If we see... there is no VS Seeker here, so Billy wants to try and get another attacker sorted out here. Oh, would you believe it? He top decks into the Yveltal and goes down to 1 prize. That could have given Jimmy a way back into the game. He could have KO'd the Raikou there had Billy not hit the VS Seeker, and then maybe Billy doesn't draw anything and Jimmy closes out the game. It's a moot point. He top decked the Lissandra, and that is going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. There is no way that I can see that Jimmy can KO that Raikou this turn. He can't even try a Lissandra stall by bringing one of Billy's active bench Pokemon into the active and try and leave it there until he draws something that can get him the win. So Billy is going to win on his next turn by just attacking anything with that Raikou. So I thank you to both the juniors for allowing us to get them on stream today. I very much appreciate that. And if, them or their parents want their names in it, feel free to pop it in the comments. Thank you very much to Deborah Richards, who not only put on a fantastic regional tournament and not only let me record, but she went out of her way to put a little table to the side where I could set up and actually record the game. She let us, and she made it easier. You know how YouTube works, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure that you comment, like, and subscribe, as you should on all good YouTube videos, mostly mine. And we're going to be back with round 5 very shortly indeed, featuring another fun game. It's going to be wonderful, ladies and gentlemen. Or is it going to be round... Oh, it's going to be round 6 in the next one. Either way, we're going to be back with a new round shortly, and it's going to be an absolute doozy. Thank you very much for watching. Look after yourselves till next time. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.